Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the meeting of the Lebanon Utility Service Board for Wednesday, January 22nd, 2025. Let the record show that the meeting was properly advertised. There was a short working session prior, and that all board members are present tonight. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'd like to offer public comment beginning and the end of each of our meetings. Go ahead and do that now. I don't see anyone from the public here for comment, so we'll ask again at the end. First action item is the approval of our minutes from the January 20 last meeting. And
January
8th. All right. Everyone had a chance to review those minutes, and if so, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
I move to accept the minutes of the January 8th meeting.
Second.
Motion made by Ann, seconded by Bill to approve the minutes from the January 8th, 2025 meeting. Any additional discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we'll jump to the next item, which is a locator truck purchase. And it looks like David Bailey is here tonight to address the board. Hey, David.
Thanks for having me, guys. I'm the metering and locating supervisor, David Bailey. We hired an additional locator last year, and basically our 811 tickets have more than tripled, which is what our underground utilities. So we'd like to get both of these locators working separately so we could cover more of the town. Currently, we have one vehicle that they're both riding in, so this will just be an additional vehicle. We went and got 3 quotes. 2 of the quotes were from Bill Estes, different of branches of theirs. There's Hare Chevy, All American Chevy, and D. Patrick Ford. All the quotes came back pretty close in price, within a few $1,000s of each other. The one that is the cheapest will work for us. It is $36,795, I believe, is total. So we are just asking the board to approve that amount for the Chevy Colorado. It was budgeted for that for $50,000 because we weren't sure how much the vehicle prices were going to be at that time. And so it is coming in a little bit less than budgeted for.
Okay, thanks. It's a good thing to hear. Questions for David on this purchase?
I said, David, you say our 811 tickets have tripled since when?
For the last 3 years, they have increased by 10 to 15% every year. And so we are at 50% more than what we were 3 years ago when Artie was doing it. I believe it was 9,800 tickets at the beginning of when we hired our new locator, which was in November. And we now are expecting about 11,000 for this year. So it's another 10 to 15% increase this year.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, any other questions for David? I would entertain a motion.
Move to approve the purchase of a 2025 Colorado pickup in the amount of $36,795 from Bill Estes Chevrolet.
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Bill for the purchase of a 2025 Colorado from Bill Estes Chevrolet in the amount of $36,795.
See, is that correct? Is it Bill Estes?
Yeah, Bill Estes, they work with several different places around. And so they're going to be transporting the vehicle here. That way it's still locally purchased.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Any additional questions, comments? By saying aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, thank you, David. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, next item is the conduit installation. It's for Browning Park 65 Phase 1, and Jeff Greenow's here tonight. Hey, Jeff.
Good afternoon, everyone. I got a couple of board request approvals this evening. The first one I have is for to have Barriott install conduit and equipment for the project Browning Park 65 Phase 1. This project is being developed there just west of the what's that called? Flying J's, and just east of the railroad tracks there. They will be installing the infrastructure of the conduit and the street lighting conduit. They'll also be installing the transformer boxes and the sectionalizer boxes. This project will come out of the service to new facilities capital additions budget, line item number 4 that we have approved. So I'd just like to ask the board for approval to have Barriott perform the conduit and equipment installations for Browning Park 65 Phase 1 project for the not to exceed amount of $41,665 and have General Manager Ed Basco sign all documents.
Yeah, this was a project that was approved prior to our going to city council with the change in our terms and conditions.
That is correct.
Okay.
Are there going to be other phases for Browning that's going to be grandfathered in?
Yes, it's a pretty big project back there. This is just Phase 1. They're building, I believe it's a McAllister building there, so there'll be another phase to it in the future.
Yeah, that's just 41,000 here, 41,000 there. I'll be glad when this grandfathering is over. We got about a dozen, I think.
All right, other questions, comments for Jeff? Entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve having Barriott to perform the conduit and equipment installation for the Browning Park 65 Phase 1 project for not to exceed amount of $41,665 and have General Manager Ed Basco sign all documents.
Second.
Motion made by Bill, seconded by Tim to approve Barriott performing the conduit and equipment installation for the Browning Park 65 Phase 1 project with a not to exceed amount of $41,665 with our general manager signing documents. Additional comments? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, Jeff, looks like you have another request here for the 1275 Circuit, and that's Cox Avenue project.
Yes, this is a project that Lebanon Utilities Electric has been working on for quite some time. We had to wait until Boone County RMC was able to upgrade the poles out there. I had to bring this to the board because there's one span where we have to trench in conduit to put wire in due to a billboard out there. The rest of it's overhead, primary. They'll be installing 3 4-inch conduits, about 275 feet. And the reason why we have to go that size because we have to put a size of underground wire that's compatible with the overhead wire that's going to be there. This project is going to create a loop feed between the 1275 circuit and or the 1211, 1274 circuits. It'll also create redundancy for the Browning 65 project. This project will come out of the system upgrades on the capital additions line item number 5. So I'd just like to ask the board for approval to have Barriott perform the conduit installation for the 1275 Cox Avenue project at the not to exceed amount of $16,992 and have General Manager Ed Basco sign all documents.
All right, thanks, Jeff. Questions for Jeff, comments? I would entertain a motion to approve.
Move to approve having Barriott perform the conduit and equipment installation for the 1275 / Cox Avenue project for the not to exceed amount of $16,992 and have General Manager Ed Basco sign all documents.
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Bill to approve having Barriott perform the conduit and equipment installation for the 1275 Circuit Cox Avenue project for the not to exceed amount of $16,992 with our general manager signing all documents. Any additional comments, questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Next item is our civil wastewater BOT recommendation. And it looks like we have the water and wastewater next two items here for Ryan Ottinger.
Good evening. This request is to approve the contractors for the Civil Wastewater Treatment and Collection System Improvement Program, the BOT. We did request for proposals. RFP was advertised in November, and we had responses from Bowen Engineering, Kokosin Industrial, F.A. Wilhelm, and Thienemann Construction. And we did have a scoring committee, and the scoring committee met on these proposals. And we found that all four would be suitable for the civil BOT projects that are in our upcoming year of projects. And so we would like to ask the board to approve the scoring committee's recommendation for all four contractors. And then as we move forward, we will have internal meetings and make recommendations back to the scoring committee. And what we will do is we will highlight a project and what contractor we think would be the best fit for that project. And then we would move forward with a public hearing, and then every project individually we would negotiate a price, still come to the board for approval and go through our normal process. But this would just allow, based on the scoring committee recommendation, this will allow for us to have multiple contractors doing multiple projects and being able to fulfill those all within the construction period, which won't start anytime soon due to the cold weather. But once we get going, there's a limited time. We want to try to knock all these out and have multiple projects with multiple contractors if possible. And I can take any questions on this. And then also John Leitner from Butler, Fairman Seifert's here if we want to go a little bit more in depth on the BOT projects.
Right. Thanks, Ryan. Questions for Ryan? Comments? I like the idea of having multiple options here, so that's good.
Yeah, we had four good submissions.
If we like this, then I anticipate we might think about doing this on a yearly basis, have an RFP process like this, RFP process.
That's how I would
Yearly.
anticipate it. It would be based on, with the capital improvement plan, we'd know what we have coming up. And
Sure.
if it's a pretty large, and when you add the water, wastewater together, there's a lot.
Right.
And so, yeah, I think that would be ideal. And, this is kind of the first time for this, the way we're doing the civil BOT. So if the board likes the way that this goes and internally we are happy with it, then I think it would be a good program to continue.
Right. If not, I would entertain a motion.
I move to approve Bowen Engineering, Kokosin Industrial, F.A. Wilhelm, and Thienemann Construction to move forward in the Lebanon Utilities Civil Wastewater Treatment and Collection System Improvements Program.
Second.
Motion made by Aaron, seconded by Tim to approve Bowen Engineering, Kokosin Industrial, F.A. Wilhelm, and Thienemann Construction to move forward in the Lebanon Utilities Civil Wastewater Treatment and Collection System Improvements Program. Additional comments, questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, Ryan, and looks like we have similar situation for the civil water BOT.
That is correct. So it is very similar. We went through the exact same process with advertising for the BOT based on our responses. The scoring committee came with a recommendation. We've got responses from Bowen Engineering, Kokosin Industrial, Reynolds Construction, and Thienemann Construction for the water the civil water side. And my recommendation would be the exact same as the wastewater. Based on the scoring committee's recommendation, I would recommend that we approve all four and then go through the same process that I just described for the civil wastewater program. The civil water would go through the same process. And again, we got four really good contractors that we're really happy with.
Where's Reynolds Construction headquartered?
I don't, they're based in Indiana. I don't know exactly where it is.
They have a Indiana office.
Yeah,
They've got they're
they've been
really-
finalists in several of our BOTs.
Yeah, they're very qualified. Yeah. John was just waiting to get up here.
Orleans, Indiana appears to be their headquarters.
Thank you.
The original Orleans, not New Orleans. Just wanted to clarify.
All right. Anything else for Ryan on this civil water BOT? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
I move to approve Bowen Engineering, Cocosian, excuse me, Industrial, Reynolds Construction, and Thieneman Construction to move forward in the Lebanon Utilities Civil Water Treatment and Distribution System Improvement Program.
Second.
Motion made by Ann, seconded by Bill to approve Bowen Engineering, Kukosing Industrial, Reynolds Construction, and Thieneman Construction to move forward in the Lebanon Utilities Civil Water Treatment and Distribution System Improvement Program. Any additional comments, questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, Ryan, we march on to the Sugar Creek aerator removal.
Can I ask a brief question on the last one? Apologize. It's just seeing how John's here and he already sat back down and we have a couple other BOTs coming up. Is there any sort of brief update you can give the board on what's happening on the wholesale water supply one and the wastewater? 'Cause I know you've been doing a lot of work.
Yeah, so on the wholesale water supply phase one for the BOT program, we advertised the RFP in December, back before Christmas. We had a pre-response meeting on January 7th or 8th, I believe, that was very well attended. Hard to get a parking spot here at the municipal building that day. So we have quite a few plan holders. I believe the list is somewhere between 12 and 15 right now. Likely anticipate anywhere from 5 to 10 actual RFP responses to come in, and those are due on January 31st. Once we have those in, we have a scoring committee preliminarily identified and a kickoff meeting scheduled for shortly thereafter, and anticipate with the size of that project, seeing some interviews and different discussion there with the hope of selecting a developer by the end of the month of February. On the wastewater side, we'll likely come back to the board next week with a request to advertise for the RFP, request for proposals for wastewater for phase one and the collection system improvements, and get that process started there on that side.
Thanks, John. That's great.
Thanks, John. All right, Ryan, on to the Sugar Creek aerator removal.
Yes, my request is for the removal of an old aerator that was the original aerator. It's indoors and it is no longer in service. It is a 12-foot by 12-foot cube that's stainless steel with bolts that were on from 1979. And the exit door on the back of the building where this is located is a standard service door that would be similar to what you go out to your garage in. So what we will have to do is we'll have to construct a new commercial garage door that'd be permanent in order for them to be able to get their equipment in to take this apart, and then also to be able to take the aerator out and take care of that for us. Like I said, it has been no longer in use for about 5 years now, so I think it's right now is the world's largest paperweight. So we need that space. There's between the walls, there's only about a 5-foot area. You can't get a pallet through there. You can't get anything really through there. So it's definitely in the way. So now's the time to go ahead and remove that, and that the door will be permanent. My recommendation, we did receive 3 quotes. My recommendation is for RHP Construction. They were the lowest bid, and they can do both. They can put the garage door in and do the removal. And we had some bids for just the garage door and just the removal. But even when you added those up, RHP was still the lowest quote for when you combine those. So my recommendation would be for the board to approve this. This is line item number 10, on the budget for facility rehab and improvements. And the cost is $32,800. And I can answer any questions on this we might have.
Hey, Brian, how come it's taken so long to decide to take this out?
That's a great question. I believe that the thought process was that in an emergency of some sort, we would have a spare aerator. But what we had noticed was keeping it in the system and not using it was a potential for bacteria that we did not want to take a chance on. So we abandoned it then. And it's just been one of those things where we're meaning to do it. And budget wise, we wanted to focus on other stuff. So now, beginning of the year, we know what our budget is. And it should have been done a while back, but now we decided to go ahead and finally take care of it.
All right, that's good.
Not that really matters, but how long does a project like this take? 3 or 4 weeks, 6 weeks?
It depends. I anticipated about 2 months, but since it's out of service, it won't affect the daily operations of the water plant. So it'd be just based on what their schedule is as far as.
Probably shouldn't take long.
It shouldn't. The door itself, installing the door and matching up the metal and making sure that it all looks good is probably going to be the longest. The removal won't take too long at all.
Right. Anything else for Ryan? If not, I entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve quote for RHP Construction for door installation and area removal at Sugar Creek Water Plant for an amount not to exceed $32,800.
Second.
Motion made by Bill, seconded by Tim to approve the quote from RHP Construction for the door installation and aerator removal at the Sugar Creek Water Plant for an amount not to exceed $32,800. Additional questions or discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, Ryan, moving on to the wastewater treatment plant expansion. This is the Wessler Amendment number 2, and I believe that this is a table request. Is that right?
Yes, we want to dig a little bit deeper into this agreement. So we're going to work with Wessler Engineering and make sure that we have some more detail. So what I'd like to request is that we table this to the February 5th meeting, and I will ask the board for approval then based on a little bit more detailed agreement.
All right. Is there a motion to table?
I move to table the wastewater treatment plant expansion / Wessler Amendment number 2.
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Ann to table the Wessler Amendment number 2 to the February 5th, 2025 meeting. Any additional questions, discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? All right. Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
Next item is the approval of our claims payroll and transfers dated January 22nd, 2025. Everyone had a chance to review those? And if so, I would entertain a motion.
Move to approve claims payroll transfers dated January 22nd, 2025 in the amount of $1,033,741.50 for claims and payroll and $0 for transfers.
Second.
Motion made by Bill, seconded by Ann to approve the claims, payrolls, and transfers dated January 22nd, 2025. Additional questions, comments? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we will move to any other business tonight. Anybody from the board have anything they'd like to bring up? Ed, anything tonight?
No, sir, just thank everyone I want to mention on the BOT committees, we had board members involved and they did spent a lot of hard work reading these very dense engineering type documents and helping us out, and we very much appreciate it. They were very helpful. So.
All right, we'll offer public comment again. I don't see anyone else here from the public for comments. Next meeting's Wednesday, February 5th, 5 p.m. And if there's nothing else, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Ann to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you, everyone.